One aspect of the subcontinent is its multicultural and multilingual character, because of which English has also adopted a unique character in this part of the world. English in the subcontinent is used for international functions, of course, but then it is also used for several pragmatic and contextual functions which are completely unique to the subcontinent only. For example, it is used to talk about several customs, rites, rituals, etc., which are completely unique to only the countries which are located in the subcontinent. So, as a result, this variety of English has adopted several characteristics which are distinctive of this particular part of the world only. And a lot of acculturation of English has taken place as a result of the cultural characteristics of the countries which are located in the subcontinent, and English trying to adapt to these unique cultural circumstances. We see that the sounds and pronunciation of English used in the subcontinent has several features which are quite distinctive to the subcontinent. For example, the retroflex stop consonants like t, d correspond to the alveolar consonants like t and d. So t and d sound in the inner circle English is pronounced as t and da, not as soft as the alveolar consonants in all the countries located in the subcontinent. Similarly, the initial voiceless plosives like p, t and ka are also not aspirated. So the English users of the subcontinent would produce these sounds as pa, ta and ka without the aspiration. Fricatives like f, th, the are pronounced as pa in many countries of the subcontinent, especially India. So failure would be pronounced as failure in many regions of India. Tha, for example, thinking, thought, thin, is pronounced as thin, thought, etc. The is often pronounced as da. Similarly, no distinction is made between the v and the w sound, the v and the w sound. So, water in many parts of the subcontinent will be water, what will be what, etc. So, in some countries, no distinction is made between the v sound and the sound we make when the word starts with w. So, some use the w sound only, and in other countries, only the v sound is used. In Pakistan, we see that v sound is used more frequently. The initial vowels in some varieties of the subcontinent are preceded by a glide. So inner will be yinner, above will be, open will be wopen. Similarly, the sibilants in same and shame are pronounced the same way with a sa sound. So shame is also same in some varieties of the subcontinent. In words such as major, the ja sound as in major and za sound as in razor, they're all pronounced as ja. So razor is also rager in sub-varieties of the subcontinent, especially the Indian variety. In terms of grammar, a very prominent feature of the English of the subcontinent is the lack of articles. This is a characteristic of the subcontinent English which it shares with many other outer circle Englishes. So, we observe a lack of use of articles in the subcontinent English. Similarly, we see a lot of reduplication taking place. So, walk slowly, slowly. Similarly, other reduplications I grew fat and fat, etc., are used in the subcontinent English. And then again, a feature which it shares with other outer circle Englishes is the use of general tag, isn't it, at the end of tag questions. So he was angry, isn't it, instead of he was angry, wasn't he. In the subcontinent English, we see that people generally use the general tag, isn't it, with all the tenses. Several of the idioms and metaphors which are used in the subcontinent are also based on the idioms and metaphors which are used in the local languages. For example, in olden times, a woman just worked like a bullock, as in local languages. Also in Urdu we say to work बैल की तरह काम करना, which means when you work very hard. We eat their salt, and as long as we eat it, we will remain loyal, as we have this phrase in Urdu as well, and also in Hindi. To be loyal to the people who feed you, namak halal hona ya namak khana. So this is also used in the English of this part of the world. Similarly, the play had gone bad, like pickle in the monsoon. The pickle here means achar. Again, a feature, a cultural or a feature of everyday life food unique to Pakistan and India. So just as pickle goes bad, achar kharab hona, similarly, the play has gone bad. And so there are several metaphors and idioms which are also directly transferred from the local languages. In terms of vocabulary, we see a lot of vocabulary which is a result of the use of English in the government domains, which are from government register. For example, chit is a small note or letter. The chit is a word which is a feature or which is a vocabulary item which is found only in the subcontinent English. Similarly, tiffin to mean snack, and now we use tiffin actually to mean lunch box. Buggy is a carriage, a horse-driven carriage is buggy in the subcontinent English. Then in terms of vocabulary, we have several English collocations. Though they are English collocations, they are used only locally. So we do not find these collocations in the native varieties of English. For example, upliftment to mean improving the plight of downtrodden. So upliftment is a word that you find only in the subcontinent English. Botheration, which means to cause somebody inconvenience. Now, botheration is also an innovation of the speakers of English in the subcontinent. Batchmate is a common collocation that we use in Pakistan, which is again a feature of the subcontinent English. So, batchmate meaning a fellow student. Similarly, cousin brother to refer to a male cousin, and cousin sister to refer to a female cousin. These are also items of vocabulary which are unique to the English of the subcontinent. In terms of vocabulary, we also come across several hybrid items. For example, lathi charge. Lathi is an Urdu word and charge is an English word. So we have this hybrid items, vocabulary items in the English of the subcontinent, India, Pakistan and other countries as well. Similarly, parda woman, parda an Urdu word and woman an English word. So we have these hybrid vocabulary items as well. So we see that indigenized varieties of English in the subcontinent have several features which are completely unique to the culture and languages spoken in this part of the world. That we must also understand that when we talk about the characteristics of subcontinent English, we do not refer to it as a unitary item or a unitary element, but what we mean is that these characteristics that we have here examples are a collection from the varieties of English spoken in different countries located in the subcontinent.